to Harry Tangye, former armed response officer and firearms commander for Devon and Cornwall Police. Harry, thank you for joining us on the UK tonight. What's your view on that decision made by the judge today?
I think it's disastrous. I think the same processes with law are taking place as if an individual walked down the street and shot their neighbour. There is no distinction, and that's obviously what is hopefully being changed with what the Home Secretary and Commissioner has tried to put. I really need to make it clear that being a police officer, I sent to stick up for the good side of policing, just to remind people that it's out there. There's an awful lot of it, and yet I get an onslaught of trolls, and they really try to bury you. That's just on social media. I also know many officers who have been involved in shootings, and it's not only them or their husbands or wives that are being targeted, but their children in school. And these processes take an awful long time, don't they, before they come to court? And so the lives for these children are made a misery. This isn't, again, some individual who is, if we're talking related to somebody, a civilian. Police are very publicised, and there's people who just don't like the police. And so it's far more impactful for police officers to be named, but there's nowhere to hide. And quite frankly, even if everything, again, speaking very generically, just it comes to nothing and there's not guilty or it doesn't go to court, it doesn't matter. The name's out there and they'll forever be reminded that you are that individual and it can't be escaped. And I think this is going to have a huge impact on recruitment as well, because recruitment for armed response was probably bad enough. Now, if it's not the officer, even if the potential officer is keen to join the armed response, their families are going to say, not on your Nelly. You do not do that, because for the same money, we can do frontline, which is just as difficult, but doesn't hold the risks.
We've had a statement from the Police Federation of England and Wales this evening. It came in just before we came on air, Harry. I'll just read it to our viewers. It says, the Police Federation is seriously concerned and bitterly disappointed about the potential ramifications of publishing the officer's name and date of birth in January next year. Officers are not looking to be above the law, but they must have confidence that they have the protection needed to do the difficult and dangerous job society expects of them. You touched there on the consequences for recruitment. What about the consequences for current serving firearms officers? Because we know that at the beginning of this, when it was mooted that this may happen, that the name may be released, firearms officers actually handed in their guns. That's how contentious this was for them. What happens now?
Time will tell. I think some officers, my experience over 30 years, that some officers think it's the same with police pursuits. Hopefully it won't happen to me. They get satisfaction from the job they're doing. Armed response officers, we're asking to deal with some of the most dangerous people in society, and they just want to be treated basically as witnesses. And obviously, if there's a carte blanche, obvious case where an officer has gone rogue and shot someone, that's a different matter. But we're talking if information intelligence is gathered, officers are being sent to any incident where there's highly believed that firearms will be, they may be threatened with firearms or other lethal weapon. They're thrown into a spontaneous incident. They're highly trained. They just want that comfort. They're not immediately going to be treated like a suspect. This is totally different. Yes, they should be accountable, must be accountable. They want to be accountable. But basically, would you do it with the way it is now? Really? That you could go and make a split decision over something that is happening in front of you, spontaneous, no time to prepare, something is happening. You make a decision, and then you are then treated as if you've walked down the street with a gun and shot someone randomly. Exactly the same process, and that's how it is at the moment. And that's what they're saying. It really needs to change, because otherwise you're going to have no firearms officers either there at the moment.
Okay.
I think, I'll be honest with you as well, they think the Met is in a right mess at the moment. There's a serious issue with leadership, not all leadership, I'll make that clear, but there's a serious concern with leadership, and they feel expendable.
Okay, Harry, good to talk to you and get your point of view. There's Harry Tangye, former firearms officer. Thank you. No doubt in the fullness of time we'll get more reasoning.